Today I'm going to share a dish with you that's very simple and easy to make, that's going to save you time because it's all made out of one pot. Not only is it tasty and delicious, but it's very nutritious and filling, and your family's going to love it. Pronto? Allora andiamo a cucinare. Ciao, my name is Lucia, and thanks for tuning in to Green Olive Cooking, where you are only a few ingredients away from a great meal. And today's great meal is a traditional pasta and lentil dish. And so I'm starting with some prosciutto that I'm just going to finely dice. And if you don't want to use prosciutto, you could use bacon, you could use pancetta, whatever you'd like. I like to use the prosciutto just because it's nice and thin and it's going to give a nice thin crispy crunch. So now that I've diced my prosciutto, I'm going to place it into my saute pan that's been heating, and I'm just going to cook these up until they get nice and crispy. Because the prosciutto doesn't have much fat, I am going to add a couple tablespoons of olive oil to help it. But if you're using pancetta or bacon and there's oil, a lot of fat, you don't need to add the extra oil. Now that my prosciutto is nice and crisp, I am going to add another tablespoon of oil just because my prosciutto is so lean. If I was using a pancetta or bacon, I wouldn't have to do that. And I'm going to be adding an onion that I have diced to this and let that saute for a few minutes. So we're going to add a clove of garlic. Going to add a teaspoon of salt. We're going to add some diced celery. So we're going to measure out a cup of lentils. And whenever you measure out lentils and you're ready to use them, you should always try to strain them in some water and also check them, because sometimes little bits of pebbles get into the lentils. So I'm going to rinse these before I actually put them in here and just inspect to make sure there's no pebbles. So now that the celery and the onions have been sauteing a little bit, I've rinsed my lentils. I'm going to add my lentils to my pot. Now you can use canned lentils if you want. You can use the dry and cook them ahead of time, but I figure they have to cook in here anyway, so I'm just going to add them to my pot. And I'm going to add 3 cups of water. And this is going to start the cooking process for the lentils. And I'm just trying to keep it simple, all in one pot. But again, if you want to do a separate pot to pre-cook them to save about a half hour of time, you can go ahead and do that, or just add that to the pot. Now I'm going to take the lid and just cover my pot and let the lentils cook for about a half hour, and then we'll come back and we'll add the other ingredients when 30 minutes are up, or whenever the lentils are cooked. All right, let's check on our lentils, and we can see that they're beautifully cooked. Perfect. This is exactly what you want, what you're looking for. So now we're going to add the next ingredient, which is our spaghetti. So our spaghetti, we only need about 8 ounces, so that's about half the size of the box. But of course, if you want more spaghetti, by all means, you can add the whole box, but I usually do about half a box. So we're looking at about 4 ounces. I like to cut these up in little bite-sized pieces, so I will take just a few, and just holding it with one hand and the other hand, I just break it up. And that's about the size that you want. So you should get about 4 breaks out of each rod of pasta. So now we're going to add our pasta to the cooked lentils. We want to kind of stir that up into the lentils. And we are going to add now another 3 cups of liquid, because now our pasta needs to cook, so we need some water for that. And at this point, we don't want to cook it covered, because we want a lot of this water not only to be absorbed in the spaghetti, but we also want it to evaporate as well. We're not looking for a soupy dish, unless of course that's what you would prefer, and that's totally fine. All right, so now we're going to let this cook for about 10-15 minutes. We'll see where it's at. Depending on the brand of spaghetti, it could take 10 minutes, it could take 15 minutes. So once the spaghetti tastes cooked, then we're ready to add our final ingredients to finish off this dish. So now our pasta's been cooking. You can see how for about 13-14 minutes, and you can see how all the liquid is absorbed. This is exactly what you want. So now we want to finish off our pasta. We got some creaminess, the starch from the lentils plus the pasta, plus now we're going to make the sauce kind of creamy because of the starch. So we're going to add some butter, and we're also going to add some Parmesan cheese. And I'm going to add just a little bit of parsley just to kind of give it some color. And you just want to stir this long enough for the cheese and the butter to melt. And this is going to give a nice creamy sauce to this dish. And don't forget to add salt and pepper to taste, but careful. I always try to do this part at the end because there's some saltiness in the prosciutto that I used. Plus there's also some salt in the cheese. So I don't do too much salt in the beginning. I do wait till the end for that. Now to finish it off, I am just gonna add another little sprinkling of chopped parsley and just a little bit of Parmesan cheese. This is a great dish also if you're a vegetarian. You don't have to have the meat in the beginning. You can leave that out. And with the lentils, it also serves as a wonderful protein for vegetarians. So this is also a great dish if you are a vegetarian. You don't have to add the meat. You can skip that part in the beginning, and the lentils will serve as a great source of protein for you. You can go ahead and check out this video also for another great quick meal that your family's gonna love. Until next time, ciao, ci vediamo dopo.